to New England Ford Patriots 5th Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, welcome everybody to TV 38 and the Patriots 5th Quarter. I'm Bob Lobel with Steve Diassi and Scott Zolak. And just when you're thinking you're driving in, it's a 17-0 game, and you're going to have to figure, well, this is an easy breezy feeling going in to play Denver here next Sunday night. Things turn around in a hurry, and besides being 24-0, you're up 24-17 and fighting for your life. So, gentlemen, it just never seems to be easy.
Well, you didn't think you were going to keep the Jets scoreless, but you didn't think you were going to let them score 17 points, unanswered points that quickly. That's just a breakdown of a couple of plays, couple tackles on the Lavernius Coles run, and just a great plays by Cotchery too. So they made some outstanding plays offensively, but for the most part, this team was pretty much in control.
I think I got caught flat-footed at the end of the game. I was driving; it was 24-0. But you know, you think this game should have been over 35 minutes ago. But this is what happens: you get up in a big game like this, you get a big lead, and all of a sudden, a couple plays, they make a play here. Let's give them credit. I mean, they got some good people on the perimeter. Outstanding play by Cotchery, keeping his balance and getting down the end zone. And Coles, I mean, that's for highlight reels. But Pennington's a scrappy quarterback, and we talked about this in the pregame. And you said it too. If this guy's got time, if they're able to run the ball a little bit, and I don't think they ran the ball that well, but he's still very good with the play action and coming down this check down. So they're a feisty little team.
Well, they're going in. They should have had time left. They're up 10-0 in the second quarter, and they hold the Jets. And then they come back, and Chad Jackson gets his first touchdown. And I guess we have.
All right.
That's probably the play of the game. Would you say that's fair?
I'd say you give it to the young man, first NFL touchdown.
Yeah.
And, that put him up, I believe, 17-0 at the end of the half.
Yeah, you got a nice spread there, and I think this is a great starting point. Let's turn the page. Let's start to put the Deion Branch talk behind us a little bit. Let's see what this kid can do. Kind of reminds you of David Gibbons a little bit. Size-wise, strength, squeezes the football, catches it in his hands. Just want to see a lot more of him.
Now, there were a couple drives of the game we'll get to later. Certainly their opening drive was, once again, right on the money. If you forget that first Buffalo sack, their second drive was right on the money. Their opening drive, clockwork. Their closing drive, though, I think you got to say, even though they didn't put points up,
that's the one.
The closing drive was what nailed it shot.
Well,
they took over, 6:35, I think they took over right there, and a couple, three straight third-down conversions.
And, I mean, these were 3rd and 5 or longer. So
block field goal, that kills you, though.
But, you know, we're going to take a break here, and this is the deal. And we'll talk to our panel about this. We'll also go down to the Meadowlands where Steve Burton and Michael Felger are. There are plenty ahead. Bill Belichick's press conference, Tom Brady's press conference. But I guess here's your question tonight. How would you grade Tom Brady's first 2 games?
Not bad, Bob.
You know, this is, let's see what you think. How would you grade Tom Brady's first 2 games? When we come back, we'll talk to Scott and Steve.
I'm a tough grader.
Hey, you are a tough grader. We'll find out how Scott and Steve think. There you go. It's out there. Go for it.
Guests on New England Ford Patriots 5th Quarter receive a gift certificate to Milton's, the store for men. At Milton's, you'll be as comfortable in their stores as you will be in their clothes.
Okay, Patriots win at 24-17 after leading 24-0. We have Diassi and Zolak here, and Steve Burton and Michael Felger down in New York. So let's go down to Steve right now. Steven?
All right, Bob, thank you very much. We're waiting on head coach Bill Belichick to take the podium, but this is really a game of 2 halves, to say the least. Patriots jumped out to a 17-0 lead, and all of a sudden you didn't think the Jets were in the ballgame.
Yeah, their defense let them down. I mean, they gave up no big plays to the Bills last week, not one of over 20 yards, and then bang, bang, 71 yards, Cotchery. I think it was 49 yards, 41 yards. I forget what the second was, 46 yards to Lavernius Coles. Bad tackling, both those plays. Eugene Wilson, I thought today, had a real scratchy game. But I think the story of the game was Tom Brady. I know Bob said, we're going to talk about whether it was a good one or a bad one. I think it was really a good one, a typical bounce-back game for Tom Brady. You look historically at him, Steve, whenever he's had a bad game, that next one is usually pretty darn good.
Well, here's the thing about Brady, Michael, and you bring him up, he delivered when he had to. I mean, he threw an interception, he fumbled the football, but when it came down, when the game was on the line, Brady, as he normally does, steps up and delivers.
Yeah, we can sit back here and pick up about 5 balls that I think were, he'd like to have back. He had Ben Watson in the end zone, open for a touchdown, underthrows that one. But on that last drive, he was 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 on third down conversions until they got way down there, and I thought he started the game exceptionally consistently sharp. And again, that's sort of in keeping. Whenever he has a rough game, that next one is pretty darn solid. And let's also remember again, if his timing is a little bit off, that seems to make sense. Chad Jackson looked good first game. Doug Gabriel, I didn't see much of him first game. I mean, the timing isn't there with a lot of these guys.
You mentioned Chad Jackson. He scored his first touchdown in his pro career. Lawrence Maroney scored his first touchdown of his pro career. Talk about the running game a little bit, because Maroney stepped up big. Corey Dillon also had a good game.
Yeah, the running game continues to look great. And I think the Pats offensive line, when they're running the ball, looks great. I love to see that in the fourth quarter they have confidence in Maroney to give him the ball. I mean, I think that's really, we sort of think of that as Corey Dillon time. But hey, the rookie got some carries there in that last drive, and that shows you they have confidence in him. He didn't put it on the ground. That's all good. And you got to love the way Corey Dillon on that last drive just destroyed 25 on the Jets at the end of that run. That is the benefit of having a two-headed monster, because Corey Dillon is a little more fresh in the fourth quarter and can do that.
And if you notice about the running backs, they're always churning. They're always keeping their feet moving, always pushing forward. I want to talk about after the game. You saw Eric Mangini and Bill Belichick shake hands, but it was a quick handshake, and all of a sudden they're off the field. I'm not even sure if they looked at each other.
Yeah, they didn't really stick around and chat, did they?
No,
they didn't inquire after each other's families. We talked about it pregame. There's probably something there. I think they're both glad to get it over with. I bet Eric is really glad to get it over with. And hey, let's face it. Eric's team, I think, distinguished itself. It really hung in there, fought to the end. The Jets are not a good team by a long stretch. The Pats aren't as good as they used to be, but they're still a far superior team to the Jets. And the fact that Eric's team hung in there, I think he should still feel good about that.
I will say this. It looks like the Patriots have a lot of weapons. Even though, we criticized their wide receiver core, a lot of guys caught balls this afternoon.
Well, I think Chad Jackson is going to be a very good player. I think Chad
when
Jackson,
he's on the field.
I think Chad Jackson in time will be better than Deion Branch, because he's bigger and he has a lot of the same quickness and hands and all those things. But this year, Steve, I think that's asking a lot for him to be Branch this year, but I think he can be a very good player.
The funny thing about Chad Jackson, he made a great catch, and I believe it was the first quarter.
His first catch?
His first catch. It looked like that ball was going to be stripped, but then he dropped one when the ball was right in his hands. Of course, he came back and made the touchdown catch.
Rookie. I mean, that's what you're going to see.
Right.
Good catch, drop, touchdown, drop, and I'm sure there were some patterns out there where he wasn't quite open, but, his touchdown, he should have caught it. He caught it. Good for him.
Yeah, Chad Jackson came up big today. Here comes Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. He's going to take the podium as we speak.
Okay, well, it's always good to come down here to Giants Stadium and win. Tough game, typical kind of AFC East game. We've been in a lot of these close ones, and kind of like we talked about last week. When you think about how a game's going to go, you probably didn't think it would go the way it went, the way it started, and then the way it ended up. But it's a good win. We'll take it. And I thought there was a lot of good things out there on the field for us. Certainly a lot of things we got to work on and we can improve in. And we'll work on those this week. But tough, hard-fought game, and in the end we were able to make a few more plays than they were, and that's why we came out on top. But there's always work for us to do. We can do a better job. Start with me, and working all the way down to everybody that participated in the game. So that's the way we'll look at it, and that's the way we'll approach this week. And we know we got a big week here with Denver, so there's no. It'll be, we know we'll have a tough week coming up.
Seems like there was a little bit of sloppiness, turnovers, a few missed tackles. Is that something that's pretty concerning to you after it happens maybe for a second week in a row?
Well, there's plays we could have executed better. There's no doubt about that. Yep. And, yeah, there's plenty of things we need to work on.
What situationally, Coach? It seems like you still do pretty well in some clutch situations, some tight situations where we were down on the last drive.
It was a good drive. Yeah, it was a good drive. We didn't finish it, and we gave them the ball back with only a 7-point lead instead of a 2-score lead. But it was good to drive the ball down there, run a lot of time off the clock. There were a lot of good plays in that drive, but we didn't finish it, and we gave them a chance there at the end.
How was it to have Teddy back out there?
Good. It was good to have all the players out there that we had. Getting a little bit healthier, and we got some contributions from some guys that didn't play last week, so that's good. I mean, I think there's still room for improvement. Don't get me wrong, plenty of it, but it's good to have him back.
Did you have certain things put in for Chad, this being his first game and him not having practiced a lot? Was it kind of scary?
No, not really. We just tried to run our offense. We really weren't sure who was going to be here for the game anyway when we started the week, so we just put in the game plan and then tried to execute it. As it turned out, we had both Doug and Chad played, but we weren't positive of that going into the game. So think Chad was questionable. Doug looked a better probable, but, you know, we wasn't 100%.
Were you impressed by the play he made on the ball down the sideline in the first quarter where he went over, I think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was on the other side of the field, so I didn't get a real good look at it, but it was good to see him come up with it. That's for sure, yeah. Like when the ball's in his hands at the end of the play on a touchdown or a long pass, it's, you know, no doubt about that.
What were your impressions of the Jets today?
Jets played hard. Yep, they played hard. They played well. We played a little bit better. That's, you know, that's the way the game turned out. It's a tough, hard-fought game. Both teams made a lot of plays. Both teams hit hard, played hard. Very competitive, like it usually is in this division.
Bill, how encouraged are you with the running game right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of things to be encouraged about, but we just need to be more consistent, and we need to finish some drives and, you know, tackle better and play better defense, play better in the kicking game. I mean, I think there's some good things to build on, but, you know, there's still a lot of things that we can do better, so we're going to have to keep working on those. But I think that, you know, each part of our game has shown some positive signs, but we need to be more consistent.
Did we have a chance to say anything to Eric after the game?
No, just good game.
On the field goal attempt that was blocked at the end, were you taking a delay intentionally to move that back and get a different?
No, we thought we might be able to get him to go off sides. You know, we'd gone for a couple 4th and 1s, and you know, we didn't really feel like the 5 yards made much difference at that point. You know, the field position wasn't that big a deal, but they didn't jump, so we took the penalty and you know, kicked out, I don't know, whatever it was, 26-yard field goal, or I don't know, whatever it was.
Obviously, there's improvement in the passing game from last week.
I'm sorry?
Improvement in the passing game from last week.
I think, yeah, I thought we did some good things in the passing game. We did some good things in the passing game in the second half last week. But again, we need to be more consistent, and that's what we're going to work on. But you know, there's some positive signs. We got the ball to some different receivers, and you know, we're protected fairly well. But you know, we had a couple bad plays out there too. So you know, we got to do a better job on those.
Bill, have you ever seen a play on Patriots touchdown where a guy gets hit like that and just falls back in a defender? Yeah, we've seen it a couple times. I didn't realize that I thought his elbow went down, but I guess it was on the back of one of our players, so actually it wasn't down. So, no, he's a heck of an athlete, and those receivers run well after the catch. We know that. Coles and Cotchery, you know, those guys are great runners with the ball in their hands. You know, this team has a lot of talent, and then the receivers are hard to cover. They got a good quarterback, you know, good on defense. I mean, this is, you know, a team a couple years ago was, you know, right there at the AFC Championship game. So we have a lot of respect for the Jets and a lot of respect for the talent that they have on the football field. It was a great play.
What was it like coaching against a guy who was a significant part of your staff last year?
You know, it was the Patriots against the Jets. That's what it was. We were just trying to coach against the Jets. I'm just trying to do the best I can with my team. I'm sure he's trying to do the best he can with his team. That's really all it is. Just trying to get our team to play better and see if I can do a better job of coaching.
Considering the questions you had coming in receiving-wise, how did you think Tom worked with the receivers as opposed to them?
Well, I think it's like I said. I think that there were some good things. I mean, we had some positive plays, and there were other plays that, you know, we would like to have converted on. Again, some of that's the play, some of it's the execution of the play, some of it was good defense by the Jets. So it's a combination of things we just got to work on to get better. But there was some positive things there, you know. We hit some big plays. We hit some key third down plays. We hit some plays in the red area, and we missed some. So just got to keep working at it.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So, 24-17, Bill Belichick has to say. We're going to take a break and come back. And don't forget our poll. How would you rate Tom Brady's first 2 games of the 2006 season? Simple A, B, C, D, F. It's your call. Come back and talk to our in-studio experts, Steve Diassi and Scott Zolak. Going to ask them about that field goal kick. Was it the kicker's fault? More stuff.
The kicker's fault.
Holder's fault.
Holder's fault.
Not the snapper's
No, it's a snapper's fault, holder's fault, kicker's fault. None of the above. We'll be back.
Bill Belichick's post-game news conference is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter is brought to you by Heineken. Heineken. It's all about the beer. Visit enjoyheinekenresponsibly.com.
All right, welcome back to the fifth quarter. Patriots win it 24-17. Before we talk about the blocked field goal that would have put them ahead by 10 and sealed the game, the running game, total running game, 36 carries, 141 yards. The tough yards seemed to come from Corey Dillon. And I think, gentlemen, since the audience isn't picking a player of the game, they're voting on the Brady over the first two games. What do you think about Corey Dillon? I certainly think he deserves recognition as player of the game for what he did today.
Well, you look at the first downs that he got rushing. You look at the way he ran the ball. He was running in some hard yards, and even towards the end where he got hurt, he's putting his head down, getting that extra yard like we saw him 2 years ago. He's not nearly what last year we saw him tentative, stopping in the hole sometimes. He's hitting the hole as well as he did the year before. The best thing about it right now is he doesn't have to carry the ball 25 times a game.
He's an old 1,600-yard back from 2 years ago. This is a guy where they went out and this team drafted a running back in the first round. Everything that's been written about Corey Dillon, whether regarding his age, whether he's lost a step, whether he's too slow, he's a role player now, and he understands his role in his football team. He hasn't whined. He hasn't complained. He hasn't said, hey, give me the rock more, as he should late in games, because that seems like the route they're going to go. Right. Maroney's going to be that burst back. Kevin Falk's going to be your third down specialty back, and until these receivers get in the mix, you're going to see Kevin Falk split out, and Lawrence Maroney's going to be your first down guy, and Corey's going to be in there for those tough yards, and Corey's going to start every game.
Well, as you saw it last play, Dillon got hurt, and we think it's his shoulder. It's one of those things you're never, ever really going to know. And it was really
that tough
interesting.
Screen they were setting behind the bench.
For you were, if you were watching, you saw it. If you were not, the CBS cameras attempted to get a shot of them working on Corey Dillon, and someone would prohibited it. It was just, they just stood in between. I mean, it was really...
You would think it was Paris Hilton out there with the paparazzi. They put the hand in the camera's face, and then when they came around to get a different angle, one of the assistant trainers came along and stood in front with his arms crossed, blocking the camera's view.
Yeah, but that right shoulder pad was up on this side, and they were kind of reaching in over here, and that means they're checking that clavicle.
You could see when he was down.
There it is.
Yeah, see?
Now, if you don't want to see this, go play in a tent.
He's got an attitude, too.
Set up your bench in a tent.
He's got an attitude. That was great. That was great.
No, you can't see the pictures behind me.
You got to figure it was a shoulder, because when he went down, he's holding he's reaching over here and holding his shoulder. So it was, but it was just funny to see, and that's all. You know, I think that was probably a little further than Bill Belichick would like in terms of keeping the secret. But that was funny. Someone getting a little exuberant in their job.
All right, Felger seemed to take issue with our actual having a poll on Brady's first two games. But do you guys feel the same way? Do you think Felger was right?
Yes, Tom Brady ended up, what, 15 to 29. You ask him if he hits on about 50% of his passes, and the ones that he did not hit on, I mean, they weren't through the hands, they weren't in the feet, they were good 5-6 yard misses. You want to grade it ABC, I say CEF because of consistency, and need more consistency in the passing game. Execution, execution and frustration. These are not bad grades. This is what he's feeling.
He was good.
Yeah. 2 weeks of frustration,
They might have given E's at Maryland.
But, those are good E's. Those are good E's, though. No,
most of the other schools.
But he's talking about
this. Did BC ever give E's out?
I did pass-fail.
Plus, minus.
Okay, we got to go to Steve. I got to go to Steve. Steve, take it.
All right, Bob Lavelle, thank you very much. Standing next to me is Junior Seau, and what a game. I mean, you know, you guys started out, looked like you were going to blow this team out of the water, and all of a sudden, they're right back in the football game.
Yeah, this is the National Football League. You have to play all 60 minutes whenever you have an opponent like the Jets, and we went in there, we kind of got complacent towards the end. And, you know, obviously they made it a game. You know, you got to tip your hats off to them for making a game at the fourth quarter. But offensively, they did a great job of just running out the clock with 8 minutes left. So we did a good job there, but we definitely have a lot of work to do.
Run defense came up big today. I don't think they got one rushing first down. And on 4th and 1, you came up big stopping the run.
We take a lot of pride in that run defense, and obviously with coming here in preseason, they ran that big 60-yarder on us, so we remember that. But for the most part, we went in there, did a great job on defense in terms of the run, and we did a great job for 3 quarters. But for the most part, we got to just close the game out when we can.
Have you ever seen a touchdown like Cotry's? I mean, it looked like he was down. All of a sudden, he's not down. He's running 71 yards for a touchdown.
You know, that was a big heads-up play by him. You know, for him to catch the ball and really get hit hard and have the frame of mind of getting up and running the ball. I mean, that's definitely going to be on one of the highlights on ESPN or wherever. But that was definitely a play that killed us.
How are you adjusting here? Belichick gave you a huge compliment that you were in one morning 6 o'clock.
There you go.
Satellite issues.
That's it. It happens. An electronic world we live in, and we live and die in it.
He was given too much information. Belichick cut the wire.
He cut it off from up top.
The guy is standing in front of the camera just like this. He said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm cutting the wire.
That was Sal's first interview. He probably didn't know he's not allowed to talk.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll find out in a hurry, won't he? Well, all right, we're going to take a break. I think that's what you would do if you were in this position. There's plenty ahead on the fifth quarter. Brady's post-game press conference.
Right.
When we come back in our poll, our exit poll, how would you grade Brady? If he were Scott Zolak, you'd give him an E, because that's what they did at Maryland and Youngstown, where he went to high school.
That's a good E. Execution.
An E.
Get the execution.
If you were Diassi, it was pass-fail at BC. So, but here, no, this is A, B, C, D, E, no E, F. Just we're skipping the E's.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots fifth quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, the Patriots came up with a Corey Dill clock-killing drive to salt this one away, but they almost gave it away by having a field goal blocked. Very rarely, I can't remember when. The other guy, the guy's name that began with a V.
Don't remember him.
Don't remember him.
Nope.
Time flies, you know.
There was Matt Barr, and now there's Gostowski.
Right. Gostowski, 26-yarder. So let's take a look. Is this his fault or not?
You know, it's hard to tell with the penetration.
Get all that graphic out of there, too.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
Slashing thing. That would help. But,
that was right where it was blocked, too.
Over the right guard, right tackle gap, number 99 got through there. But and, it's a combination, I think, of maybe a little bit of a low kick.
It had to be low because, first off, 99 was one that blocked it, and he got through, but he was still bent over and just reached one arm up. Granted, it's a short field goal, but that just looks like it might have come out a little bit low. Because you look at the timing of how it was blocked. First off, nobody should ever get in that gap. Absolutely not. You should be absolutely secure in that situation with the center, with the guard, with the tackle. There should be absolutely no penetration like that. But even when he penetrated, it looked like he got through and he was still bent over and just reached his arm up like that and blocked it. If that's the case, you know, those short, fat defensive linemen, those guys can't jump anyway, let alone angled over like this. That might have come out low.
Who hit it?
It looked like they were.
Well, we're not really sure.
I thought the guy had slashed in 99.
Could have been
his left hand down on it.
One of those high jumping wide receivers that was put in.
No, because it was
Jonathan Vilma came up the middle.
They always put those fast, quick guys on the outside.
If that thing gets blocked, one of those fast guys picks it up, there's your problem.
Yeah, that's different than that.
Well, yeah, because you're kind of kicking it around. You're rolling the dice. I mean.
Well,
they cough it up, they could run it back.
We're sitting there watching the game, 4th and inches, and when Brady comes out, and we're sitting there thinking, you know, my first thought was, there's no way that they're gonna try for this first down, 4th and 1. They're just gonna try and draw them off sides. And then when they did, I would have thought they might even take a penalty, because the difference between 29 and 34, especially when you're on a hash, you get a little bit better angle at it or whatever. But even so, I have a feeling when we get the final looks at that kick, that's going to look like it came out just a little bit low.
Well, maybe we'll get a look at the kick without the graphics, Scott. That would make you happy, wouldn't it?
That would
be nice, kind of like that one right there with the Ford with the.
Well, I know.
The
stuff we put up. Sometimes it's like when you show golf highlights.
There we go. Look at that. See, it was 99.
It was.
99
it was what?
It was a 99. It was a little
right guard, right tackle gap.
I'm looking at the kick, and you're looking at the guy that blocked it.
Watch, I'm telling you. Come on, help us out.
That's what we're trying to figure out. See 99 right there?
He's already through.
That's a low kick.
Plus, he's extended right out where the kick point is, too. Let's give him a little credit there. I don't know if we can blame that on Gostowski.
That's a low kick.
Well, you're blaming Gostowski.
I'm blaming the whole operation. Right guard, right tackle.
Whole operation. You can't get the. You can't let that kind of penetration go. And I don't care if it's just a yard deep behind you. You can't let that penetrate. You're locked. Your legs are locked in between the center and the guard.
Well, you would know. You've been there.
Absolutely. You just can't get. You can't allow that kind of little angle in there.
It's just something I just don't even want to think about.
That was. I'm telling you, that was a low kick. You will see. You'll see that from whatever angles Belichick decides to release to the press and find out that it's going to be a low kick. There's no way, because the guy was bent over. He's bent over like this and still leaning up like that.
Though he got to the kick point.
Oh, kick point! Kick point 7 yards back.
See, once that
guy couldn't run 7 yards in 3 seconds.
Easy to tell.
What was our operation time? 1.6 seconds. There's no way.
7 1/4 yard.
Yeah, he couldn't run 7 yards in 1.6 seconds. He's 348 pounds, 5'11", nose tackle. There's not a chance in the world.
Well, there you go. Okay, we've solved another problem, although I don't know what we've solved. Our vote is, Corey Dillon okay for player of the game?
He played well. I thought Troy Brown played well today. You could see that, Brady just has a different feeling with Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of great passes to the sideline today. Troy Brown, a couple good stiff arms, picking up first downs. It's different. It's almost like Tom is looking when guys like Gabriel are in the game. But the big play, Chad Jackson going up, making a play, that first 33-yard catch that he had, that was in traffic, a little bit underthrown, but he went up and got it, as to where Gabriel later in the game in double coverage didn't go up and make the same type of effort. Now, Brady will think next time when Gabriel's on the field, he's not going to go after it like Chad Jackson does. Chad Jackson's going to see a lot more balls the more he keeps catching like that.
You could make a case as a group for the front seven of the New England Patriots. 4 sacks, 51 yards rushing out of the Jets. Seymour played well. I thought Bruschi played well. Vrabel, Colvin made some plays, and even Jarvis Green came in and did some plays.
The two Steves are down there in the Meadowlands, Burton and Felger. If you want to take your shots, I'm going to go to them right now. But, okay, I don't know what you guys have heard.
Steve Felger?
No, Mike Felger. I don't know what you guys have heard, but we're giving it back to you right now. So, go ahead.
Okay, we've heard very little, but we're just coming out of the locker room, and Michael Felger, you want to talk about what, Eugene Wilson?
Well, the defense in general, and talking to a lot of the defensive players, what I've heard is that, yeah, it's nice that we can win these close games again, but if we play like this next week against Denver, we're toast. Denver, I mean, let's face it, Buffalo and New York are two of the weaker teams probably in the conference, although Buffalo's win today, I don't know, maybe you got to look at that game last week.
Denver's not looking all so hot either.
No, they're not, okay, but I think there's more respect in that locker room for Denver than there is for Buffalo and the New York Jets, and if they tackle as poorly as they did in the secondary against Denver, they're going to be in trouble, a team that they've always had trouble to begin with. And Eugene Wilson to me is a disappointment, because we all thought that when Rodney Harrison came back, Eugene Wilson would come back. I mean, we remember Eugene was a great player when Rodney was playing next to him. Last year he took that step back. Now Rodney's back, and Eugene Wilson still seems you're taking bad angles on plays. He cost.
Well, if you're talking about the Laveranues Coles play, Laveranues Coles made everybody look silly on that play.
Sure did.
I mean, he's got some tremendous moves, but you're right. There were a lot of missed tackles in that secondary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they went repeatedly to Laveranues Coles against Eugene Wilson, and Wilson missed a bunch of tackles. I mean, I think he would admit to you he's got to be better.
What about the play of the running game? Because I want to go back to Corey Dillon and the fact that these two guys, Lawrence Maroney and Corey Dillon, these guys are like best of friends right now. They're playing off each other well.
Well, that's why it works, Steve.
And that's exactly why
you know
it
what?
works.
I had this debate. I mean, Steve Diassi and I talked about this on Sports Final quite a bit, and there's this concern out there that Corey Dillon, if he's not the guy, not getting the ball, that he'll cause waves and be a troublemaker. And you know what? I knew Corey Dillon would never be that guy. You could just see it from the day that Lawrence Maroney was drafted, the way Corey Dillon has carried himself. He's been a real professional. He's been as good as you could possibly imagine about this, and that's what makes it happen. If Corey Dillon was being a jerk about it, it would be difficult. But I think Corey Dillon is at a stage in his career. He's got his money. He's got his championship ring. He's rehabilitated his reputation, which at one point was really bad. And I think he realizes that Lawrence Maroney's good for him. Corey Dillon's going to be better.
He's pushing him. He's pushing him.
But not just that, Steve. He's allowing him to rest. We talked about this earlier. Corey Dillon in the fourth quarter lowered the boom big time, and I think that the fact that he's not taking every carry allows him to be fresher in the fourth quarter. And I think it's good. Corey Dillon can play maybe another year or two beyond what he thought he would at a higher level
because of this other guy.
Because the load is less, and I think it's good for everybody.
And here's the other thing. They're two different backs. One's a speed guy, one's a power guy. Corey Dillon runs with power. Lawrence Maroney has a lot of breakaway speed, and it's good to see because these guys, like as we mentioned, are playing off each other.
Yeah, and it's not just the back. Let's talk about the offensive line. I think the offensive line...
they're doing a great job. They're opening up holes, I'll tell you that.
As a run blocking, I think their pass blocking still needs work. The run blocking's ahead of their pass blocking, but on the run, I mean, you can just see it. The tone of the offense, the way they want to dictate tempo, it's on the ground. They've become much more physical, running kind of team, and that's a good thing. Ideally, that's the way you want to do it, and that should open things up for Brady in the passing game later on when they get on the same page with these receivers. But the offensive line, to me, has been impressive from day one. They had a rough week pass protection-wise, again, last week against Buffalo. But in the run game, they're just a really strong, aggressive unit.
We hope to get Patriot linebacker Teddy Bruschi out here. I don't know how many people expected Bruschi to play. He did have a cast on, did make an interception, and we're waiting on quarterback Tom Brady as well. In the meantime, let's go back to Bob Lobel. Bob?
All right, I have to ask you, I just want to fill you in since you weren't listening. I know you're busy doing your thing. Zolak said nothing higher than a C, D, E, or F.
For what? C for what?
Brady.
Consistency, execution, and frustration.
I'm sorry. You're interrupting me.
He's about a B minus. He's about a B minus today.
You're being very rude, and Diassi said C minus. Okay, that says one thing. Now, what about the kick, the blocked field goal? We're arguing here. We're looking at the tape. Was the kick low? Was Gostowski at fault here?
Well, here's the thing. The kick, I think, was a little low, but the guy, I think, number 51.
It was Vilma, I thought.
Vilma got up high in the air. I don't know if he made an illegal block, too. Did he jump on someone's back? We have to see the replay.
I don't care if he jumped on Akeem Olajuwon's back. Steve Diassi.
Well, that's illegal. You can't do that.
Well, but it doesn't matter. If you're at 29 yards away and no one breaks through the line, you've got to get it up high. You know it was the kicker's fault when there was no runaway rusher into the backfield. Vilma was pretty much on the line when he blocked that kick, from what I could gather.
I think it looked like and I have to see the replay, and Lobel, you have it back there, but it looked like Vilma got on someone's back. I'm not positive sure about that.
I don't care if he got on a 10-foot-high guy's back. I mean, at that,
but that's a flag, I believe.
But from 29 yards away, you got to get it up. You got to get it up there. And believe me, I think that in that 4th and 1 situation, they were once again thinking about it, just like they did last week. They went for it on 4th and 2 with Corey Dillon as opposed to kick a 40-something yarder. This week, I bet they were thinking about that long and hard about whether to go for it again as opposed to kicking it.
We did not hear who you said you gave the grades to. C minus, C to who?
You guys.
I think that's a little high.
Yeah, thanks for
nothing. I mean, all right.
Just kidding.
I'm usually in the D range.
You gave a C or a C minus to Tom Brady?
They did. They did.
I said about B minus.
They did.
Well, I thought Tom was a lot better than last week, and certainly not vintage Tom Brady, but there were times when it was vintage Tom Brady, and I'll take that over no vintage Tom Brady. I mean, that last drive was typical Tom Brady money performance.
You're right. Here's the thing about Brady. We always say this. He's like David Ortiz. A guy comes through in the clutch. In the meantime, we'll wait for Teddy Bruschi. Bob Lobel, back to you.
All right. What about the pass to Gabriel? What about the pass to Ben Watson?
Forced plays.
You know, I know that he was on the money in the final drive and everything.
15 of 29 for 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception is not a great bounce-back game for Tom Brady. I don't care how you.
I won't call it a bounce-back.
I don't care. He's used to when you talk about a bounce-back game for Brady, and he has had a lot of them. He comes up with 65, 70% completion for 320. Yeah, this is not a bounce-back game. This was barely.
It's good enough to win.
Barely passable for Tom Brady. Tom Brady is so much better than what we saw today.
Okay, I'm going to take a break. Who was that guy that was standing in front of Corey Dillon? Was he an employee of the Patriots?
Assistant trainer.
Assistant trainer.
I think so.
All right.
Just look at what he was doing. Yeah.
That was a picture. That was a shot. So we gotta cue that up. No, we'll be right back. No, that's right. Get out of here. All right, the exit poll. Here we go. This is up to you now. How would you grade, honestly, how would you grade Tom Brady's first 2 games? We're picking on an icon here. We're grading the untouchable.
How dare you?
You don't get points for past performance. We're talking about today and last week.
Yesterday and today. This is it right now.
This first 2 in there, Steve.
Okay, last week and this week.
We'll be back.
The Patriots Drive of the Game is brought to you by Woburn Toyota, the everyday dealer for everyday people.
All right, gentlemen, this is the drive of the game. Previously, it would have been the end of the first half drive that resulted in a 17-0 lead, but their Patriots are now ahead 24-17. They get the ball back, and this drive, they take care of the football here. Previously, with the big lead, and hang on to this graphic because we have to go through it. They had an interception and a fumble. Yep. They were not taking care of the football. They had a big lead, did not take care of it. But in this drive,
Momentum has swung. I mean, that's 52 yards. This is not an 85-yard, 17-play drive. This couldn't happen more perfect for them as to where they were short enough plays to pick up first downs, yet they didn't pick up big chunks and leave enough time for the Jets to muster something, and they were having some momentum on offense. But I thought Tom was on the money to Caldwell, put it right in his numbers. He seems like it's one of those guys where you got to stick it on his chest. That was a big one because he was right at the sticks. Caldwell did a nice lean into the first down marker. Brady to Falk for the 6 yards, and then Brady, and of course, Troy Brown for the 8. That was the big one. And Corey he was running with a vengeance.
Dylan, here's a couple more. Then the 3rd and 5, and Dylan for 4 yards, and the one that he got hurt on that, we're trying to get a peek over the guy's, guy works at Foxwoods in the offseason.
Have you ever seen a drive go over 8 minutes, just only 52 yards?
52 yards, that's unheard of. First off, 17 plays.
17 plays.
Is that correct? That is.
Wow, you have the stats in front of you.
That's amazing.
I'm trying to figure it out.
17 plays,
it doesn't make
52
sense.
yards. That's 3 yards of play, just over 3 yards of play.
You can't script it more perfectly.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That'd be you'd be getting an A in math in BC.
I always did.
You get it neat.
I always did.
Well, I can't see it.
It doesn't have a drive chart. Doesn't have the drive chart.
You know what?
We'll get that with our crack staff in the back room.
If it says 17 plays, it must be 17 plays.
That's what makes it amazing.
It's television. If you see it, it must be true.
Really?
Well, it doesn't matter if it was the drive of the game.
It was a great drive because it ate up so much time, and it left Pennington with, what, less than a minute 30 or so to try to drive 92 yards.
Well, look at it this way. You had 4 third-down plays. So you had, 15 plays right there.
Right.
Correct, though?
And if you punt, the way Josh Miller was punting, that probably would have been into the end zone. You would have had just an 80-yard field with a lot of time left, with anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5 minutes left.
Caldwell with big catch on the first down. That's a good, important catch for him. But not to say that this makes up for the way they played in the second half. It makes up for some of the missed tackles, and this momentum swung completely in the second half, 24-0. You got to give the Jets credits for fighting, and they're a scrappy team, as is Buffalo. Now, I think maybe we didn't give Buffalo enough credit. Buffalo goes down to Miami. I don't think Miami's as good. We talked about just plugging Dante Culpepper in is not going to automatically make them a playoff team. I mean, they're well coached. They have decent players. But Miami could be in for a rough year.
Well, they could have been shut out today without too much trouble.
They should have been shut out.
What about Denver coming in here Sunday night next
Denver's not playing
Denver's not playing well.
9 points against Kansas City. Kansas City's not known for their defense and not a very good performance.
Plus, you're not traveling across 4 or 5 hours. You're not playing in Mile High.
Denver, wasn't it? That was in Denver. This
last year.
Kansas City game, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about last year difference.
Playoffs.
And they come in here.
They got to come here. It's a night game, Gillette. It's a different scenario. You're not dealing with the thin air. And it's home field advantage.
And Jake Plummer's obviously not playing well either. That's the big thing. If Jake Plummer's playing well like he did for 80% of the games they had last year, then it's a different story. But he's obviously not playing well. 9 points against a weak Kansas City defense.
Okay, Steve Burton back at the Meadowlands. Stephen?
All right, Bob, we're staying with the Patriot captain, Richard Seymour. I mentioned to your teammates, it was a tale of two halves, but you guys came through when you had to, huh?
Oh, no question. I think it's always important if, we can pull out a win. And we're leading the division at this point, and we're 2-0. So that's the most important thing. I think anytime you can win in this league, it's always important. But I think we have to do a better job than we did here today. Even in these first 2 games, I think we could do a better job.
Richard, talk about the use of the 4-3. You guys were exclusively in that defense. Total switch up from last week. Haven't really seen just exclusive 4-3 on this team for a while.
Right. I think we have a versatile front. We can play. We have the ability to play inside, outside with myself, Jarvis Green, Vince Wilfork. I think we have the ability to do a lot of different things. And I think, anytime we can keep a team off balance, and with a lot of teams, especially the Jets prepare for 34, we come out in a 4-3 defense. I think it can cause some problems. And next week we might be go back, or I think whatever gives us the best chance of winning. I think we have the ability to do that.
Does it speak to the strength of some of the depth players on the team, Mike Wright, who got the start tonight, or Jarvis Green? Seems like beyond the big starting 3 that we're used to, there are some guys who maybe can play.
Right. I think, when you look at our football team, I think we're pretty strong up front, and we want to get more defensive linemen in the game, with myself. I think we have depth at that position. Mike Wright's doing a good job for us. He's a versatile guy as well. So, I think we just want to play to our strengths, and, it was good to get a win.
There was a sequence of plays in that second half where you guys really went after Chad Pennington. You stopped the run, and there was sack after sack. You guys really stop them on offense at one point.
Oh, no question. Like I said, I think anytime you can, shut down the run and also get to the passer with your front four, I think it, it makes the defensive back's job a lot easier. And I think we were able to do that at points in the game. Even though we still have a lot of work to do, I think, you can just see the ability that we have.
You guys are 2-0. Denver's next, right?
Yeah, no question. The team that put us out last year. So, we're definitely ready for this next game.
Richard, how about this team's ability in close games? So through all the ups and downs over the years, it seems like whenever it's a one-possession game, you guys make the 1 or 2 or 5, however many it is, plays to win the game. Well, that's a strength of the team still.
Oh, no question. I think, when you look at our team, I think, the team is resilient. I think we have a mindset that, we've been in a lot of situations like this before. We've been in a lot of close games. So, and it's no pill to say, okay, what are you doing in these situations? I think we just created a lot of situation in practice, and we just, depend on the guy that's next to us, and we have ability and have confidence in the guy next to him that he's going to do his job, and that's how it's been happening for us.
We got a chance to see Chad Jackson play for the first time. I mean, he's electric, isn't he?
Hey, I got a chance to see him for the first time. Yeah, so that was definitely good. Anytime he's a big receiver, he can run, so he can do a lot of things for us, and I think we definitely need him.
All right, Richard, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, bro.
All right, good luck in Denver.
Yeah.
Richard Seymour, our guest. In the meantime, we're waiting on Tom Brady. Let's go back to Bob Lobel.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. We're going to take a break. There's plenty ahead here on the Patriots' fifth quarter. And once again, we'll hype the poll, and then we'll come back and give you the results in just a minute or two. Tom Brady, first 2 games. What do you think?
How we doing? Yeah. I think it was, at times today we looked pretty good. I think we moved the ball well. We certainly made it closer than we would have liked to, up 24-0 in the third quarter. But they fought back, and I think to credit to them, and they made some great plays there on offense and a couple of turnovers on our offense, and they're right back in it. So it was nice to get the ball at the end and go down the field and put us in a position. Really ran a lot of time off the clock, and it was good to come away with a win on the road.
Is it all frustrating seeing some of the sloppy things continue to crop up, and maybe some of the fundamental stuff that you guys worked on so much in training can't keep happening?
Yeah, and I think that's the way it's going to be, for early in the season, and trying to understand the different components that we have on the team, and there's a lot of new players fitting into new roles, and it's just going to be a lot of tough, hard-nosed games until we can really, play more consistently. But, at times it's encouraging that we can actually go out there and execute the way that I expect us to and the way our coaches expect us to. And, I think that's really what we're trying to get to. So, in some ways there are some great things to take out of this. There's other, a little bit of sloppy play that we need to eliminate.
What about how you worked with Chad Jackson today?
I thought Chad did a nice job. He made a nice catch on a little fade there early, and then obviously a touchdown before half was good. And, we're going to need more of that from him. And I think we're going to need more from all the receivers, and we got to find ways to execute better in the passing game. But today there was some better things.
You had that one play where the ball went right through his hands, but you seemed to have enough confidence to go right back to him for the touchdown.
Yeah, we did. It was he ran a nice route there to get open in the end zone. And he's so strong. Once he gets inside, he's got enough speed to really keep the DB on his hip, and he goes up and snatches the ball with his hands. So that was good. It was a nice play.
How about that last drive? Obviously a heightened sense to be precise.
Yeah.
Those 3 downs.
And it was. I don't know how many we converted, maybe 4 or 5. But it was great. That's the kind of execution we need. Most critical, the crowd's in it. Their defense is really trying to buckle down, and we found a way to complete pass after pass and move the ball. And that was great. That was great to see. That's going to give us some confidence going into next week.
Even though the field goal gets impressed with the way Pennington's progressed so quickly after his 4-year off.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been impressed with the way he plays. He's such an accurate passer, and he's a great leader. It seems like he's in tough competition this year, and he really fought it out and really came away, and he's able to lead this team. I think he really led them back today. So it's always a challenge when we play him.
Even though the field goal gets blocked at the end, were you encouraged to see the killer instinct to get maybe your team in position to put the game away?
That was nice. That was nice. We needed that. We needed a big drive at that time. We came up with it, and I think there was some good execution in the run game, pass game, and those third down routes were all pretty big. So it was good to see. It was good to see, and we're going to need more of that.
Did the Jets do anything defensively that indicated Eric Mancini to do well from all the years together?
I mean, they did. I thought they played very well today. I thought they executed well. I thought, it's pressure defense. They caused a few turnovers today, so I thought their defense played well. They really rallied when they needed them to.
What's it like having this kind of potential for balance, having the kind of running game potential you now have to go with the passing? I mean, for you as a quarterback, what kind of thing? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of pressure off the passing game because you don't feel like you have to throw the ball on every third down. To every opportunity you can, you don't need to throw it. You can run it and gain yards and run the clock. And I think we ran the clock out last week, which was great with about 5 minutes left. This week we kind of did the same thing. So, if we could just execute the way that our coaches really coach us to execute, we could be pretty dynamic. And it sets up the play action pass. We hit a few of those today. There was a few more that I think were open that hopefully we hit next week.
Tom, take us through the two turnovers, first interception, just bad decision, running double coverage.
Yeah, I tried to lay up there for Doug, and he was, the guy made a nice play, jumped up and caught it in front of him. So in the second one, it was all-out blitz, and I was trying to roll to the right and throw to Troy, and they got there before I got the ball off. So try to eliminate those, and that really was what got him back in the game, especially that second one, which was unfortunate. Try to do better on those next week.
You're accustomed to playing with this passing game at a very high level. Is it frustrating to be into the season now and almost starting to gear up and get some folks in the game and know that all these games count now?
Yeah, and I don't think we have much options. I mean, it's kind of the way it is, and there's a lot of new guys out there. I mean, every receiver's new but one, and Troy's doing a nice job and trying to coach those other guys up, but there's part of it that you have to take a few steps back, and hopefully over the course of the year we can get back where we need to be. But in terms of our execution, I mean, that doesn't affect our execution. It affects maybe some of the plays that we're limited to because, you can't throw the whole 4 years of offense at certain guys. You just try to, build on some of the stuff that we've been doing. And those guys are working hard to get up to speed. And there were some better things today. Hopefully, it's better next week.
What's been tougher, getting used to all these new components from an athletic point of view, or just an emotional point of view, losing all the guys that left?
I think it's both. I think it's trying to get used to the new guys. It's trying to understand their strengths and the type of routes I'm most comfortable throwing to them. And part of them is them getting comfortable with me and understanding the concepts in our offense and when they're going to get the ball. And it's a lot of things in the pass. The pass game really requires great execution. If you're just off a little bit in the passing game, it really shows up. You can't complete passes. So that definitely happened a few times today. And like I said, we need to improve, and that's what we're going to get back to work on Wednesday. So, thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the results of your poll on Tom Brady's first two games. They win today, 24-17. We haven't mentioned that in a while, so they're 2-0. Winning by 2 points and by 7 points, and Denver comes in here next Sunday night. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots fifth quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
Okay, here you go. How would you rate them? 56% of you said that he would get a C.
Falls in that C+ area. That's about right.
You know what? I said to these guys, I thought he'd probably get a B, but I thought C was probably right in there, and that's about right. I think that's I think that's a very intelligent and very, people have been paying attention and
listen to his comments.
They love this guy. The guy can do no wrong.
You got to listen to his comments. Troy Brown still out there coaching guys up. They're just getting guys into the mix.
We'll get right back to you. Hang on a second. Steve Burton's got a train to catch, so that's why I want to get his last thoughts. Steve.
Train?
I'm just kidding.
Train? I was thinking more of a plane. Train. I will say this is a very close team, even with the new players on the team. It's good to see Junior Seau and Teddy Bruschi get along so quickly, so well. These guys play off each other so well. Again, we mentioned Lawrence Maroney and Corey Dillon. These guys play off each other so well. It's a very unselfish football team. This is a perfect game for the Patriots in that it will get them ready for the Denver Broncos, okay? They played well in the first half. They didn't play well in the second half, but it was enough for them to get them the win. Belichick will use this to motivate them next week against Denver at home at Gillette Stadium. So the Patriots improved to 2-0. That is a story here in the Meadowlands, and I cannot wait to get home. Bob Lobel, back to you.
Okay, Steve, thank you very much. With Mr. Zolak and Mr. Diassi. We really haven't talked about Brewski, but we probably should certainly
interception.
Go out and
One
talk
hand.
about how he played today.
It's always good to see him back. You know, he's a guy just like Rodney Harrison in the defensive secondary. He's a guy that can make sure everybody's in place. He's also a guy that other people around him react well to him being there. He's very excitable. They know that they have to match his intensity, which is difficult because he's as intense a player as there is. So anytime you have Teddy Bruschi on the field for you on the defense, it's going to be a bonus for you no matter how you look at it.
Need him next week. Need him next week. It's going to be a big week. Denver likes to mix up the run. They have a couple good backs. They did a nice job today with the down 4. And I don't know what game Randy Cross was watching, but he kept circling. Look at the 3-4 here when they had 4 defensive linemen in the game. Pretty much for the good portion of the game, they did a nice job rotating those backers. They played a lot of 4-2 nickel behind it. But you know, back to this offense. Bottom line, 2-0, 2-0 in a division. That's the key. 2 divisional games against two quality opponents. And this offense is going to have to grow. We're just going to have to watch it grow throughout the course of the year.
They better improve drastically if they expect to do anything in terms of getting to the playoffs and doing some damage in the playoffs, because the way they've played these last 2 weeks, that is not playoff caliber football. I don't care how you look at it, any which way you slice it. That is not. They are not capable of doing any damage in the AFC playoffs with that kind of play.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So,
hold on
absolutely.
a second.
You want to be playing your best football in November, December anyway.
Whoa. I'm saying they're up 17-0. They play
Doesn't matter.
They play a flawless first half. When the game's on the line,
24-0, Bob. 24-0.
I will just have, when the game's on the line last week, they find a way to come back, win the game defensively. This week, when the game's on the line, they come back and find a way to win it offensively with a 17-play, 8-minute, 10-second drive for only 52 yards.
I don't know how that happened.
Now, to me, that signifies that they do have the components to do pretty much whatever they want to do.
Then let me ask you a real easy question. They play as what? They
better be.
They play like this against a team like Pittsburgh or maybe even Indianapolis.
Watch out
they
for
win
Baltimore.
That game? They win the game if they play like this against a playoff team?
You know,
talk to us in November, baby.
I'm not going to answer that question.
That's a good
answer.
Your non-answer speaks volumes.
No, because they weren't playing Baltimore or Pittsburgh or Indianapolis today. They did what they had to do.
Yeah, but again, you're up 24-0 on a team. You want to put the pedal down. You want to not even let these guys have a sniff.
I hear what you're saying.
Red Sox won. Magic number's still 4. So that's all that matters.
Right. I'm happy.
All right, here we go. Speaking of the Red Sox, coming up on right here on TV 38 tonight, Red Sox This Week with Dan Roach. Dan sits down with Mark Loretta, Mike Lowell, and Kevin Youkilis. They just do a hug goodbye, and it's you can see that coming up 2 hours from now. And then
is Danny doing okay? Is he all right with all this?
Danny's doing just fine.
All right,
we have
just
an
checking.
oxygen tent next to his desk.
Just checking.
And
I'm concerned about him.
And we all are. Yeah. That's going to do it for us. We'll be here in the 5th quarter as well on CBS 4. So coming up tonight on that's Sports Final. Sports Final tonight. We'll get Roosevelt Colvin's take on today's game. Burton and Felga join us live from New Jersey, and Steve Diassi will be right here, won't you?
Yes, I will.
In the studio. And that's it. That's tonight at 11:30 on CBS 4. We'll see you then. All right, another happy ending. Have a good night, everybody.